This video is sponsored by OWC. It's been a little over 6 months since the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro were released, and I've been using it as my main device every single day since it launched back in September. And so in this video, I'm going to give you some of my long-term thoughts over the last 6.5-ish months about the iPhone 11 Pro Max specifically, since that's been the device that I've been using. And then I'd like to tell you some of the things that I don't necessarily like about the phone and what I would like to see improved in the upcoming 2020 iPhones. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is a very good smartphone. I really do want to start off by saying that because I think this video is going to focus more on what I'd like to see Apple do differently with the next iPhone and a few of the issues that I'm currently having with this one. But I feel like it's important for me to preface this all by saying it's obviously the best iPhone that you can buy right now. I'm a huge fan of the look and feel, and even though I do think this massive camera bump is ridiculous, you do get used to it and it becomes less of a big deal, kind of like the notch and how that was a big deal. You get over that pretty quickly. Personally, if Apple did do a redesign, I'd be totally on board with the square, flat-like frame that Apple originally used with its iPhone 4, and then they brought it back with the 2018 iPad Pro. Performance with the A12 Bionic chip has been fantastic overall. Sure, you've noticed a few weird glitches, bugs, and hiccups here and there, like everyone else has, but overall, this phone is just as snappy, powerful, and fast as it was when it first launched. Gaming, which I don't do a lot of, but when I do, it's a joy because there's really no problems with gaming on a phone like this. And editing photos, responding to lots and lots of emails, taking tons of pictures, editing a slideshow if you need to do that, watching tons and tons of media on my 11 Pro, big, beautiful AMOLED display has been a great experience. Perhaps the biggest improvement from last year overall are the cameras. Not only did Apple add an additional ultra-wide camera to the mix, but the hardware and software tweaks that were made to help image processing have made a huge difference compared to the XS and now the 11 Pro. While I don't really use my ultra-wide camera a whole lot, it's still a nice-to-have feature when you really need to capture more in frame and you just don't have the room and you don't want to step back. You just hit that ultra wide sensor and you can get a whole lot more in the frame. And the inclusion of night mode has made taking pictures in low light scenarios or just even out at night with very little light around you an incredible experience. Photos taken at night are no longer an instant delete in my book, which is what it used to be a couple of years ago whenever you take a photo at night. The new sensors and software tweaks have made that feature incredible. While overall, there's certainly a lot of good with the iPhone 11 and the 11 Pro, that doesn't mean there's not room for improvement. For starters, battery life started out excellent. Apple even made the iPhone slightly thicker in order to accommodate a larger battery, which we were all extremely happy about. But over time, it's been getting worse and worse. Yes, I am aware this is how batteries work and that degradation happens, but in the past, it's not something that you would notice until a couple of years for using the phone, not a couple of months. I've noticed it draining faster, and even my battery health is starting to take a hit. For example, on my iPhone 10, I've never noticed the battery percentage go down in the battery health part until at least a couple of months ago, which that phone is about 2 years old. Same goes for my iPhone 8, which my wife was using as her daily driver for a while. And so with those going down to about 96% today, my iPhone 11 sits at 97%. Something just doesn't make any sense. Now, that could mean nothing. Maybe there's a different way that Apple is measuring your performance and something could just be not accurate. I don't know for sure, but I am noticing that battery is draining faster. And so that to me is kind of making me check the battery health more. Otherwise, I never would have thought to look at it. I've noticed other users, and not just myself, and other people and friends that I've talked to have had similar issues. Now, for me, it could be something that I'm doing differently, like maybe I'm using wireless charging a lot more, which I actually am. I don't think I've ever really used the lightning cord unless I was traveling, but at home I exclusively use a wireless charger, so that could be it, and that is something new to what I've been doing with the 11 Pro over the past iPhones that I've had. Not 100% sure on this again, but obviously I'd love to open it up to discussion. If you guys know, would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. How's your iPhone's battery life doing? So this brings me into charging your iPhone's battery, and we've been doing it via the lightning cable, which is fine. Been doing it for forever, but I'd like to see the next step. I'd like to see Apple go that full USB-C level. It's pretty frustrating to travel around with all of these different cables when I'm starting to not need it. My MacBook Pro uses USB-C, my iPad Pro uses USB-C. Even with the help of some accessories, I can get my Apple Watch to charge via a USB-C cable. The only thing I cannot do is use it on my iPhone. I'm sure this is going to happen soon, and maybe it will happen this year, although rumors suggest 2020 might be a bit too soon as well. But it's still worth mentioning that for me personally, this is a flaw. It's a minor flaw, but it's still a flaw. The last physical hardware change that I'd like to see happen in the 2020 iPhone is one that most average consumers might not really care about, but for me, I like to see Apple add ProMotion or 120 Hz refresh rate to the display. As I mentioned earlier, the iPhone 11 Pro's display is fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. This isn't something that we need, but it is a nice to have. And since there are a lot of Android devices starting to accommodate 120 Hz displays, I would like to see Apple introduce it into its iPhone. Apple introduced ProMotion to its iPad Pro lineup a few years ago, and so bringing it to the iPhone might not be out of the question. There's really no benefit, again, to having this. In fact, it could actually even drain your battery faster, but for me personally, I love that buttery smooth effect that you get while scrolling and navigating the UI, and if game developers update their games to take advantage of the refresh rate, like Epic Games did with Fortnite and the iPad Pro, to maximize the 120 Hz, this could be a huge feature for mobile gamers out there as well. Also, as a quick bonus change, and I'm only briefly running through this because I don't think it's going to happen this year, but if Apple decided to bring back Touch ID in the form of an in-display fingerprint sensor, I would be super happy. You all know my gripes with Face ID at times, and I know Apple tried to make a fix this past year for allowing more angles in which your face can be recognized, but when your phone is lying on a flat surface, it's still just as bad at recognizing your face as it ever was, and when you want to just check a notification or something on your phone without having to pick it up or kind of hover over the table like you have to right now, it's pretty hard to achieve this. So a fingerprint sensor in conjunction with Face ID would give users options and basically fix all of my issues. Again, I don't think it's going to happen this year, and while there have been rumors that it could happen in the future, I'm not really holding my breath for this feature to happen anyways. Again, these issues seem very minor in the grand scheme of things because, like I said before, the iPhone 11 Pro has been a great device for my everyday use. Apple did a fantastic job listening to its consumers over the past year and fixing the gripes that most people had, and implementing real changes and features that people wanted to see. And I really, really hope that Apple continues this trend in the upcoming 2020 iPhone. Of course, I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the 11 and the 11 Pro in the comment section down below. Also, before we end today's video, I want to give you more information about today's sponsor, OWC. OWC offers a wide range of products for your Mac, like internal hard drives and SSDs, memory, Thunderbolt 3 docks, etc. With a lot of us working from home these days, OWC has the perfect tools to help maximize your work from home setups, like the Thunderbolt 3 dock for charging your Mac and adding options to plug in all of your peripherals and accessories quickly and easily, lightning fast SSD external drives like the Envoy Pro EX, and one of my personal favorite devices, the USB-C travel dock. Even though we won't be doing a whole lot of traveling these days, you can make your setup portable throughout your home with this 5-port dock that plugs directly into your MacBook and expands your setup in more ways than ever before. Go ahead and visit the link in the description down below for more info regarding these products and to see everything else that OWC has to offer. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.